Hi, this is Eric Solomon bringing you the Monmouth Park Pick 5 preview for Friday, August 6th. If there was ever a time to jump into the Pick 5 pool at Monmouth, tonight is the night. $200,000 double carryover in the Pick 5. So definitely a sequence you want to take a look at, because I do think that this sequence does have an opportunity to pay some money, some decent sized fields, some wide open races. So let's jump right in. I put together a $64 ticket to attack this Pick 4. I'm going to start heavy on the front two races. First race in the sequence is race 2 at 5:30. State bred, optional claiming, non-winners at 2 other than allowance. Top pick is number 5, Alta Velocita, morning line favorite. Source that's dramatically improved in her last 2 since joining the Andrew Simoff barn. 3 really good starts at the meet, 2 wins and a narrow second. Was just a little bit further behind than I think she wanted to be last time out, and came up just a little bit short in the stretch. Should get a pretty good setup here today. I think there's a decent amount of pace signed on with Jersey Jewel and the Tiger Lily in here. So I think the setup's there. This one could be tough. Another one that should benefit from a decent pace is the 8 Princess Georgia. You're going to look and see that she was the winner of the Spruce Fir Stakes here with Jersey Breds last out. That was on May 31st, opening weekend. And even though that is a stakes race, that was not a strong field necessarily. So she is getting a little bit of a class test here, despite winning in Stakes Company last time out. That being said, she's won 3 races in a row. She's a good closing sprinter. I think she could be tough in this race. I am going to put Jersey Jewel on the ticket as kind of a saver. Inside speed at Monmouth, and it has not been as good as it has been in past meets, but this one, despite the fact that the 2 wins have come on sloppy tracks, I definitely want to cover with this one here. I just don't want to get knocked out by a horse that might be able to be just a little bit faster early on, put the other 2 away, and keep finding. And then also going to use the 4, Dantastic. This horse is inconsistent. Did just run last week, but certainly is capable on her best day. And again, another one that might benefit from a little bit of speed in front of her. Also cutting back from us, route to a sprint. Race 3, optional claiming allowance race. Again, going to go 4 deep here. And my top pick is the 1, my first Grammy. This one rose. You go back and look at the PPs of that non-winners of 1 allowance race at Saratoga, where this one was a long odds. That was an absolutely blockbuster non-winners of 1 allowance race. Maybe one of the best races at that condition in the country this year. A lot of strong horses. I went back and looked. There's probably 9 of 11 horses in that race that would probably be sub 2-1 favorites in this race. So definitely getting class relief while staying at the same level. Draws the rail, should get a favorable setup here. Again, I'm a lot of 1-turn races in the form, going longer distances, not really deterred by that. I think this one should be tough here. Also looking at the 4, the morning line favorite, Bryce, definitely a logical player. 4 straight wins, 3 of those wins are here. Obviously loves racing at Monmouth Park, 4 for 4 on this oval. My note there is just that off the claim by Hollendorfer, and by no means is this a knock on him, because he's a tremendous horseman, having a great meet, 28% winners right now. This is a horse that definitely threw in some clunker races over the winter at Tampa, and you just wonder that, the barn switch, any kind of little change, I just worry that that's something that could throw a horse like this off just a little bit. And also moving up in class, definitely facing a harder field than he's faced before. Wild Banker makes a lot of sense in this race. A lot of strong 1-turn efforts in his form line. Returned off a 3-month break on turf against a decent field on Haskell Day, but getting back on the main track is what this horse wants to do. I'll draw a line through that race and play this one here. And then also the one I'm going to put on here is the 8, Spun in 1. This horse was a maiden winner on the Haskell card. Was entered prior to that in an easier maiden special weight. Scratched out of that race, ran in a much tougher maiden special weight on the Haskell card, and was an impressive winner that day. Solid buyer figure, bred to get 2 turns, so should be, I'm not sure he's going to be able to do that in this race, but certainly should be a horse that is capable at 2 turns. I do worry about this horse going a little too quick early on after kind of being in that race where they went 44 and change. So spun one I will put on the ticket there to hopefully catch a little value. Race 4, multi-condition, 7,500 down to 6,500 claimers. Shang's Sister, my top pick. Just think that she's probably a better horse than a lot of these. Taking a big drop in class, going turf to dirt. Her dirt form, or 2 dirt races sprinting, were okay at Gulfstream on debut. Has probably gotten a little bit better since then, grown up from 2 to 3. So just makes sense on this drop in class and cutting back in distance. A lot of changes there, so I'm also going to put Chispita on there. I really like this horse 2 back when she ducked out and tossed the rider. Came back to beat maiden claimers impressively, and closed a decent amount of ground going 5 furlongs, where she was definitely much the best winner that day. So I think she has another forward move in her. Those are 2 I'm going to use. I will look at upgrading. Perta Vita might be a horse that I might upgrade if the 2 horse in here scratches. Miss Pot of Gold. That one ran last week, so no guarantee that they're both going to go. But when they're both in that race, to me, that kind of changes the dynamic here, where they're both speed horses. They both really have one way about them. So I'm a little concerned about using Perta Vita if the Miss Pot of Gold is in the race. If that one scratches, I definitely will consider upgrading that one, as it could wind up being lone speed in this race, and the other 2 horses that I have are more off the pace types. Race 5, I could make a case that I almost had Salt in the Rim as my single at 6-1 in this race. I just think this horse has the highest ceiling of anybody in this field. This one won on debut, but hasn't hit the board since. But 3 of those races have been with open non-winners of 1 allowance at Laurel and Delaware. All 3 of those races were pretty strong races. You look at a horse like C Now, who came out of the last race that Salt in the Rim was at in Delaware. It was 3rd that day and really didn't run best race. It's gone back to win 2 races with strong, 80 buyer figure type races at Delaware since then. I can draw a line through the last race. I don't think this horse wants to sprint, but this is more of kind of getting into shape. Now 3rd off the layoff. Last time out, I don't know really what was going on with that ride with Paco Lopez, but just didn't really break sharp. Wound up kind of being behind 2 separate walls of horses and never really, Paco was kind of in and out, bobbing and weaving, trying to find a place to run, and I think that took a lot of the energy out of that horse that day. I think much better here. Draws the rail with 2 turns, should get a ground-saving trip. The other one I'm going to use is the 9 Crafty Don, the morning line favorite. And pretty much 3rd started off the layoff for this one as well. This one ran a big race 3rd, started off the form cycle. Not sure this is the best setup for this horse, especially being on the outside, but definitely the other one I am going to put on the ticket there. Getting us to the race 6. Again, I'm going to use 2 here, and my top pick, 6-1, 2-Stepping Kluki. Drawing a line through the last 2 races in maiden special weight off the turf, caught muddy tracks, just didn't run a step in either of those 2 races. Much better form on the grass. Those other 2 starts back at Gulfstream. This Pimentel done well, driving horses from maiden special to maiden claiming. You see the pedigree, the Damn Kluki out of is Johar mare, but 2-Step Salsa, very sprinter friendly pedigree there. So I think this one should be able to be all right at the 5 furlongs. The other one I want in this race is Military Drill, the 4 horse. Strong effort 3 back on the turf at Gulfstream. 2 back came up short, going 2 turns, and then was 2nd in a slow race at claiming here on the main track. I think getting back to the turf and cutting back in distance is a good key for this horse. So that's the $64 ticket that we're going to use. Good luck to everyone playing. And great weekend of racing coming up at Monmouth. Should be good weather as well.